Okay, I think I got it right. Okay. We talked earlier about us old folks not very good with technology. So I'm old and I'm not very good with technology, but we keep working at it. We get it. Okay. Um, Today, the message is living in truth, the power of honesty. Living in truth, the power of honesty. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please just stop me and let's chat about it, okay? All right. Okay. And I like the picture that goes where it says integrity, walk securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. And that's from Proverbs. But there's a saying that sometimes you can fool some of the people sometimes. Okay, but you can't not fool all of the people all the time. And that's what we try to do sometimes when we are not honest. We don't have the integrity we're supposed to have. Okay, the lesson objective to understand the significance of honesty in our daily lives and its profound impact on our relationship with God and others. Understanding the importance of honesty in our daily life, not just when we come to church on Sunday, okay, but in our daily life. Let's look at the main scripture, John 14:6. Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life. Okay. And Ephesians 4:25. Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we are all members of one body. We have to understand these two principles, foundational Christian life. Okay, and so we're going to talk about that today. Okay. Now, in its introduction, let's talk about the present era. The present era now is that we can't believe anything anymore. I mean, you really can't believe anything. It's all this fake news, okay, that's going around. Have you ever read something in the newspaper and you read the heading and you thought it was one thing, and then you read the article, you found that it was something else. Really wasn't really. The heading was there just to capture your attention, but the article really was something different. Okay, and so it's fake, and sometimes it won't even be real. I mean, it won't even be nearly real. It's just junk. So we have to be careful of that. Okay, then we have this misinformation. People give you a little something, and part of it is true, and part of it isn't true. We talked about it last week. That someone tells you, well, you can't have money because the Bible says that money is the root of all evil. But misinformation. The Bible doesn't say money is the root of all evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. So we get into this misinformation that we need to be careful about. People are not honest as it should be. Okay, then you have, just we don't know what anything's authentic for. You buy something and you think it's one thing, you find out it's something else. You ever did that? You bought something online, or even the person, somebody telling you something, this is this, buy it, buy it, buy it. And you buy it, and then you show it to somebody and say, wait a minute, that's junk. Okay, you find it's not exactly true. Okay, so this authenticity, not having authenticity is a problem for us sometimes. Okay, false advertising. You watch ads on TV, and you find that it's really not truthful. But they tell you that something does something, but it really don't, or they make it do it because of how they do it. Yeah, an example. You ever go to the fair, we call it a fair or music park, and they have this basket, and they have basketball. And all you have to do is shoot the basketball in the basket. right? Well, the problem is that the basketball is not a regular basketball. It's a different weight. So those of us who are used to shooting certain weight basketball don't work. And the rim is smaller than a regular rim. So it makes you think you can win because it's something that we all do, play basketball. But when you find out that you really can't win, okay, you lose. Okay. It's the false advertising thing. Okay, and then Photoshop. Now Photoshop can be good. You know, for me who really don't take good pictures, so yeah, I really don't. I blame the camera, but it's not the camera. It's me. Okay, but you take a photo, and you know, for your friends, and one of your friends wasn't there. So you take a picture of three, and then you take the fourth one and put them into the picture as if they were there. So now all four of you there. And then someone says, well, were they there? Well, it really wasn't there, but we wanted to make like they were there. So the photos out there. Okay, people do that, you know, and you don't know whether it's real or not. Because Photoshop can be pretty good. Even I use it sometimes, you know. And so we get this thing of making it look like something that it really isn't. And then artificial intelligence, AI, AI. Now, I like AI, I really do. I mean, I use it. I use it. Okay, I really do use it. I'm not saying I don't use it. But there's certain things that you use it for, certain things that you don't use it for. Okay. And you can't ask, you know, like, it says, well, you can write a book in 1 hour. No. Write a book in 5 minutes. Just tell them what you want the book to say, and they'll write a book for you. Well, you can do that, and you can put your name on the book and say you wrote it, but you're lying. Okay. And you better be careful or to read it before you print it, because what it says is not always what it should say. Okay, so we need to be careful of how we use that technology, because it does conflict with our moral obligations sometimes and what we're supposed to be about as Christians. Okay, now the nature of God, truth. So to read John 14:6, please, again, please. John 14:6.
Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life.
All right. Christ said that he is the truth. And we're going to be like Christ. We're going to call ourselves Christian, which means Christ-like, which means then that we have to be full of the truth. Okay. And not half truth. Not half truth. Okay, but the full truth. Okay. God's nature is inherently true. God does not lie. God does not lie. God has never lied, and the one thing that God cannot do. Now, see, everybody says God can do everything. God can do everything, but one thing he can't do is he can't lie. Okay. And the reason why he can't lie is because that's not who he is. That's not who he is. See, we lie because, some of us, we have that fault. Okay? God doesn't have that fault. God never lies. Okay? So he's full of truth. So we need to understand that as we talk about this truth thing. Okay. Honesty is a reflection of our character. Someone read Proverbs 12:22, please. Someone read Proverbs 12:22, please.
The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy.
Are you trustworthy? When you say something to me, do I believe it automatically? And I have a friend of mine, he complains about me because he says that I am too trusting, that I can kind of believe whatever anyone says. And I do. I mean, that's a fault of mine, because I just don't think everybody's a liar. I know some people are, but some people aren't. Okay, so I try to really go over the other side and trust. Okay, but God says what, and the Bible says what, that God detests liars. And that we are supposed to be trustworthy. Okay, honesty is not just about telling the truth, but being true to ourselves, to others, and to God. Now, is honesty and truth the same thing? Is honesty and truth the same thing? Is honesty and truth the same thing? I would suggest that it's not exactly the same thing. Okay? Because I can ask you a question and you can answer my question truthfully, but you're not being honest. Let me say that again. Okay. I can ask you a question and you can tell me the truth, but you're not being completely honest. Yes?
What the person wants to hear, what they want to hear.
Say that again.
And you want to tell the person what they think, you think they want to hear.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we will tell people what we think they want to hear. Okay. But my question is it truthful? And sometimes it is. Sometimes it is actually truthful, but it's not honest. And you say, well, what am I trying to say there? Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, all right. You asked me, did I go to the movies last week? Because I told you that I don't really like movies. Okay? I don't like, you asked me to go to the movie. I said, no, I don't like going to movies. And you said, okay. So then someone tells you that they saw me coming out the movies. So you asked me, you said, well, did you go to the movies last night? And I said, no, I didn't go to the movies last night. Is that an honest answer? It's a truthful answer, but the honest answer is, I did go, just wasn't last night. Okay? I did go, but it just wasn't last night. That's what we talk about here is not just telling the truth, but being honest and trustworthy. Okay? That's our character, who we are as a person. Okay? That's what we got to understand. That's what we talk about here. Okay? Personal integrity, yes. Okay, we got a comment, question. Oh, sister says, are you to be honest in saying, I don't believe there's a God, but that isn't the truth? Yes, yes, most definitely. You know, because sometimes we don't want to be confrontational. We don't want to be confrontational, so we just don't tell the truth. So we're not confrontational. Okay. And we think we're doing the right thing, but it's really the wrong thing. Okay. Another example of being truthful but not being honest is that what happens when you on a job and you have to be evaluated. Okay, and there are 10 questions, and you evaluate the person, good. It's all good. The last question is there anything about this person that we need to know? That's always the last question. You know, just kind of catch all, and you say nothing. But you know that there's something about this person that's not going to make them good for this job that they fill out for this evaluation. But you don't say it because they didn't ask you. So you think you're okay by not being asked, so you don't have to ask. But that's not really the case. Have to be careful. And being honest always, not sometimes. Honest always. Okay? All right. The biblical example is Daniel. The Bible says what was that? The people came and they accused, or wanted to accuse Daniel of doing wrong. But they couldn't find anything that he did wrong. His character told us about him as a person. His character told us about a person. So again, if someone says that you did something and your character says you would never do it, then you don't need to worry. You don't need to worry, okay, because that's not who you are. But if your character is kind of iffy, then you may need to worry because it may well be the truth. Okay? All right. Going forward. There are consequences for being dishonest. There are consequences for being dishonest. There are consequences for being dishonest. Okay? Now, we have the story of Ananias and Sapphira. And we can read it in the book of Acts, where they were part of the church. And if you read the Bible, it says that what people did was that they wanted to help the poor. So what some people did was they sold their land, sold their property, and gave the money to the church. Barnabas was one of those. We read about Barnabas, he was one who gave funds to the church. Okay? But no one said they had to do it. And no one said they had to give all that they got. No one said that. But they wanted to food the church. So they sold the property and what? They kept back part of it. They kept back part of it. Okay. And then in the part they want to give it, gave it to the apostles. And what did the apostles say? Apostles, wait a minute, this is not exactly right. We know that you're not giving us all, even though you're saying you give us all. Okay. And then what happened? What happened? And Ananias died. Died. Immediately died. Being dishonest. Being dishonest. Trying to fool Christ. Or trying to fool the church. But in this case, also trying to fool God, which we can't. And then his good wife. She shows up. She doesn't know what's happening to him. Maybe she did, she would have done it. But she shows up and she does the same thing. And what happens to her? She dies too. Consequences of being dishonest. We all can suffer consequences when we are dishonest. Okay? All right. Another story. We have the story of David. Story of David. Was David dishonest? Yes. David was a murderer. David was adulterous. Okay. And David did what? He suffered the consequences of his dishonesty. What was the consequences of his dishonesty? His son died. His son died. That's the consequences of his dishonesty. His son died. David didn't want his son to die. David did everything he could do. He pleaded to God. But God said, this is your consequences of your action. This is the consequences of your action. And so David lost his son, the consequence. Okay, then we also have another person who's consequence. Okay, and we have the Israelites and Joshua and fighting the battle. They fought the battle, and Joshua was so sure they were going to win. He's accustomed to winning. He was a winner, but he lost this battle. And Joshua said, "Why did we lose this battle?" And God says, "Because somebody wasn't honest. Somebody was dishonest, okay? And so we have a case then where because of dishonesty, they lost the battle. But when they found out that this person had in fact was dishonest, then he died. Not only did he die, his family died. His family died because of his action. So we need to be careful when we're dishonest, because sometimes when we're dishonest, we think it only affects us, but it can affect other people around us as well. And so he and his family died because of his dishonesty. We all suffer consequences when we're dishonest. But the question is it just going to be me, or it's going to be my whole family, or other people around me who suffer because of my dishonesty? Okay. Now, why do we need to be honest, other than the moral issues of being, okay, not lying, and, you know, and biblical? But honesty can free us. Can free, make us feel good. Someone read me John 8:32, please. John 8:32. What the Bible say about that?
John 8:32 says, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
And the truth will set you free. Have you ever done something to someone or said something about someone and you see them and you're uncomfortable? You know, you're really uncomfortable around them. In fact, you don't even want to sit next to them. You see them coming down the street and you go on the other side of the street. Okay, because you can't look them in the face. You can't look them in the eye because you know that you've done something wrong, something that you should not have done. But instead of confessing it, you just hold it in. You just hold it in. And then what happens is that as sooner or later it just boils over. And you start crying and say, I'm sorry, okay? Because you just can't handle it. I think I know what tell you the song, Shirley Caesar song about a little boy and the sister was in the yard, and the little boy took a rock and threw it at the duck and killed the duck. And the sister said, I'm gonna tell mom. And the little boy said, don't tell mom. Don't tell mom. And she says, okay, I won't tell mom, but you gotta do whatever I tell you to do. So every day, she would make up something for him to do. He finally got tired of it. He said, no, I'm not living my life this way. He went to mama and said, mama, I killed the duck. And mama says, I know. I know you did. I was just waiting for you to come tell me. That's what God is. It's not that God don't know. He's just waiting for us to tell him. He's waiting for us to say, I did it. I blew it. But once you do that, then you free yourself up. You free yourself up once you do that. But as long as you continue to lie and deceive and be dishonest, you're not going to be free. Okay? Now, let me read this part right here. I put it as I want to remember it. It says, peace that comes from living an honest life, free from entanglements of deceit, not having to remember lies. Young lady told me that a long time ago, and I learned that lesson. Once you lie, then you gotta lie again, and you gotta lie again, and sooner or later you forget your lies, and everybody know you're lying. So the best way to keep doing that is just tell the truth. That way you can remember the truth, you can remember the truth, and you remember the truth. You don't have to remember the lies. But we don't always think about that because at that moment, we think it's easier to lie. And it might seem like it's easier to lie at that moment. But the next day, we find out that that lie is kind of adds on to something else, adds on to something else. And all of a sudden, you don't forget, what, and then people know you're lying. You don't want that. You want to be with freedom from that by being honest, okay? A biblical example is a Samaritan woman at the well. She was at the well, and what did the men in the community want to do? They want to throw rocks at her. They said because she was a bad woman, even though they were ones, but she was a bad woman. Did she say, not me? No, she didn't say not me. She says, yes. Yes. And Christ says, you all right with me? Okay. He said, you all right with me? And he said, now, what I want you to do is just don't sin anymore. Just don't sin anymore, is what he said. Question.
Yes, please. What is your opinion, or even what is the state in the Bible about the so-called small white lies? For example, maybe a lie a parent might tell to a child to protect him. Thank you.
Good question. The question is, what do we think about a white lie? I tell you, I love these answers. There is no such thing as a white lie. It's a lie. Plain and simple. Now, it might be for a good reason, or at least what we think is a good reason, but it's still a lie. And even though God's will will be done regardless, but that doesn't make the lie the right thing to do. Now, just people will talk about the spies in Jericho, and where they came and asked the lady, the prostitute, have you seen these men? And she said, no. She lied. And then they would say, okay, but now they blessed her by saving them. Yes, she was blessed because of what she did, but not for lying. See, that's the part you understand. She wasn't blessed for lying, she was blessed for helping them. Helping them does not mean necessarily she had to lie. She could have helped them other ways. But so we can't confuse that. Tell a white lie is a white lie, because a lie is a lie. Your lie is my lie, we all lie. Okay. The Bible is very clear about that. Did that answer the question? Okay. Yeah, and we have to be careful of that. We do the same thing as parents sometimes, and again, we need to be careful how we draw the line. Okay? But Santa Claus. Who brought your present? Santa Claus. Okay? Yeah, who's Santa? Well, I had a friend of mine, he took a picture of himself in a Santa uniform and he put it on his door. He said, I'm Santa. Santa brings the present, but I'm Santa. Okay? So it's okay to say, I'm Santa. Okay? But we need to understand, we can't just, use these stories or use these excuses to tell things that are not true. Because sooner or later, the child will say, you told me to Santa Claus, and there's no Santa Claus. What am I gonna do? I'm never gonna get another present. And that's not true. Just as Santa didn't bring it, I bought it. And I'll bring you one next year too. Okay? All right. Okay. All right, going forward. Honesty in relationships. Young men, young women, old men, old women. I asked someone the other day in my class about, we were doing an oral exam on what is the true meaning of friend, or what the person needs to have. And the answer to me was honesty. Without honesty, there is no true friendship. So don't lie. Don't be dishonest. There's no, people say, well, if I tell the truth, then something's gonna happen bad. something's gonna happen worse, because the person might not like what you did, but they're gonna hate worse the fact that you lied about it. You just say, I did it. They're not gonna like it, but that's better than you telling them a lie that you, okay? And then they catch you in the lie. So relationships are important, but part of that relationship thing is being honest. Being honest, okay, and always, okay? And so we have a situation here of Jacob and Esau. Jacob lied to take Esau's place with his father, because his father couldn't see. And then when Esau found out, Jacob ran. Jacob ran, because Jacob thought that Esau was gonna kill him, and he stayed away. Jacob finally understood that I gotta face up to what I did. And he comes back home. And then we read where the story is, well, what happened with Jacob when he was on the way back to Esau? He had the battle with the angel, or the battle with Christ, whoever you want to say it is. Okay, that allowed him to understand that what he did was wrong. What he did was wrong. Okay. So we have to understand that we cannot be dishonest, because it will affect our relationships. Relationships between our mother, our father, sisters, brothers, our friends. It will affect that. We have to be honest. Other questions? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's not really a question, but observation that Rebecca never got to see Jacob after that.
That's true.
Rebecca never got to see him.
That's true. That's true.
That's just an interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, look, you're exactly right. You know, that relationship was broken. And it could not be replaced. It could not be replaced. Okay. So we need to be careful of when we are dishonest. Okay. All right. Okay. Being honest with God. Being honest with God. Can we be dishonest with God? Can we try? We can try. We can try to be dishonest with God. Okay. Now, again, I'll start with David and Nathan. Okay. David was dishonest because of what he did. And when Nathan came to David and said, tell him the story of his parable, and David said, tell me where he is. I kill him. I take care of him. And David said, you the one. Now, what did David do? Did David deny and said, no, I didn't do that? No. David said, I blew it. And we go back and read the forgiveness prayer. David asked for forgiveness. He accepted his responsibility for what he did of being dishonest, and he asked for forgiveness. Okay. Says, but also what he says was that I have sinned against the Lord. See, he took it one step further. Yes, he has sinned against Bathsheba, he sinned against Bathsheba's husband. Okay, but he took it one step further and said, I know what I did was a sin against God. And if we understand that, when we're dishonest with our friends, we're dishonest with our mothers, our fathers, whoever, we're dishonest with God. We need to understand that. If I say something that I shouldn't say, I'm not saying it to the person, I'm saying it to God. Okay, and I need to understand that. If I understood that and feared God, I wouldn't do it. Or I think twice before I did something like that. Okay? All right. But Psalms 139, 23 to 24. Can someone read that for us, please?
139. Yeah, 22 to 24. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me.
Sorry.
And lead me in the way everlasting.
All right. He wasn't hiding from God. He said, search me. I know I got some problems, but search me. And when I'm weak, pick me up. When I'm weak, pick me up. Okay? He said, and then he said, lead me in that way everlasting. Honesty leads you to living a life that you ought to be living. Dishonesty leads us to a life where we ought not to be living. Okay? All right. And God knows our hearts, yet He desires an open and truthful relationship with us. Okay? You said earlier is that God knows. He's waiting for us to say, I did it. He's waiting for us to say, I do it. Okay? And you know when someone is lying to you, right? Sometimes, and you don't tell the person you're lying. You just don't say anything. Because sometimes you're just waiting for the person to say. And you're willing to say, it's okay, I understand. But the longer that it takes for them to get to the point of telling you they lied, the angrier you get. Right? Angrier you get. Because you know, and it should be the same way with us. If we tell someone a lie, okay, we know that we've got to fess up. We've got to say, I blew it. I'm dishonest. The sooner we can do that, the better we are. The sooner we can do it, the better we are. In conclusion, and you said call to action. We must practice honesty in our daily lives, even in small matters. White lies. We gotta practice honesty in our daily lives. Someone asks a question, don't tell them an untruth. You know, someone's got a new hairstyle, and they say, you like my hair? And you say, yes, but you know you don't like it. Okay? But there's a way to say it. Okay? There's a way, well, you can say, to be honest, it's not for me. Okay? That's not what I would do, but if you like it, so be it. That's being honest. Okay? But when you say, oh yeah, girl, I like that hairstyle. And then behind her, that's not being honest. The little things you gotta be honest about. The little things. Okay? And I love my wife, okay, but she'll cook something and she'll say, hey Archer, is it good? And I'll say, well, a little too much salt, or I really don't like that. I prefer something else. We had a conversation the other day because, I've always eaten pumpkin, but I like sweet potatoes. Okay. And so some people like pumpkin pie. I like sweet potato pie. All right. So she cooked something that had the pumpkin in it. And do you like it? And I said, well, it's okay. But I prefer sweet potatoes. And so the next day she cooked something with sweet potatoes. And I was happy. But we all right. Now I could have said, oh yes, honey, it's good. And next day I would have had pumpkin. So it's just, you have to be honest. You have to be honest. You have to be honest. If you don't, it don't work. It don't work. You have to be honest. Okay, so and then if there's an area in our life where we have been dishonest or hiding the truth, bring it before God. Now, see, I like that because it says being dishonest or hiding the truth. See, hiding the truth is back to talk about being honest. Okay. That you can say something that is truthful, but it's not honest. And so we need to make sure that what we do, what we say is truthful and honest, okay? Truth brings freedom. We talked about that before. Lies, on the other hand, enslave us to guilt, fear, and the need for more deception. Embracing truth in our lives releases us from these chains. Otherwise, you will lie, and you get caught in that lie, and you will lie again, and lie again, and lie again. And the more you lie, the deeper that hole becomes, to a point where you can't get out. You ever heard someone say, well, I just can't tell the truth. I can't because that hurt me. But if you told the truth in the beginning, it still would hurt, but it'd be a lot easier to hurt than later. Okay? So we have to be careful that we don't do that. Okay? And last but not least is we need to have a prayer of commitment to trust and integrity. That's what we ideally pray. That we are honest. That whatever happens today, that I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have integrity. I'm not going to lie. Even though I might find myself in a position where it's easier or it seems easier to lie, but I need to understand that that's not the way to do it. That's not who Christ is. Christ is he's true. And as long as I'm Christ-like, I have got to do something. Any questions? Any questions saying about truth and again, understanding is that sometimes people will talk about some things aren't true, that these are trying to make something a lie and make it true. You can't take a lie and make it true. You can't. You cannot make a lie the truth. Okay. And you say you tell something enough time, people will begin to believe it as the truth. It's still a lie. It's still a lie. You can't make the lie true. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but that's what it is. Being dishonest. And we need to be careful how we do that. One prime example, when we finish up here, is that we go to the store and the cashier makes a mistake. What do? Do we keep the money because they made a mistake? Or do we say he made a mistake? You should say he made a mistake. Okay. Because at the end of the day, that cashier is held accountable for that mistake. Okay, so we need to make sure that we don't put the cashier in a position where they might lose their job because of a mistake, an honest mistake. So things like that we need to be concerned about. Especially in our daily life. The little things that makes us who we are. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Joe, for that beautiful word. And yeah, you just know we need to live on anything. That's what we all want. One of those lives. And it comes with being honest and truthful.